Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast. Thrilled to be joined by actor Michael DeVorzon. Michael, how you doing?
Good.
You are the star of the new Bruce Willis, or not the, you're a co-star of the new Bruce Willis movie Deadlock, and it's going to be in theaters in next week. I think December 3rd it hits. How excited are you to go to the theaters and watch yourself up on the screen next to Bruce Willis?
I am really pumped. Yeah, this is really exciting and definitely a milestone for me in my career as an actor. You know, Bruce is a bona fide legend and just an incredible actor who I've really enjoyed watching over the years, and to have an opportunity to face off against him in this movie was a real honor. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it on the big screen.
Now, do you have a theater rented out for this? Are you're gonna be bringing in like family members and everything like that? Are you gonna do the secret, like put the hood over and just kind of sit in the back of the theater kind of thing?
Yeah, the secret with the hood over is kind of more my style. And let me see what I'm dealing with first, and then maybe I'll get a room with some seats and have some friends over. I was thinking about doing that, but first things first. The movie comes out on my brother's birthday. So I don't know I'm going to be with my family. And so I figured we'd all watch it together. And then as far as any plans beyond that, I don't know.
Very cool. Now, you mentioned the word face-off. This is a traditional Bruce Willis vehicle in it, very action-oriented, except he's on the flip side of things right now. And he is not the one saving the day, but he's the one causing the trouble. Talk to us about the film and just what people can kind of expect, your role and without giving too much away, like your experience in terms of your character on screen with Bruce Willis.
Yeah, what made this project really interesting to me beyond Bruce being in it and a great cast and is that I've always thought of, and I think most people have always thought of Bruce as being the hero who always saves the day. He's the badass hero. And so the fact that he was going to be playing the villain, I thought, this is interesting. This is going to be different. This is going to be something unique. So I would describe the movie without giving too much away as one man's quest, destructive quest for vengeance. And that man is played by Bruce Willis.
And Patrick Muldoon is also co-starring in the film as well too. What did you pick up working on set with both of those guys with their resumes as well?
Yeah, I love Pat. He's a wonderful guy, just a beautiful guy. And I actually knew him in the mid '90s because my first job in Hollywood was on the show Melrose Place.
Yeah,
I worked 3 seasons on that show, and Pat showed up for 1 season. And so, I spoke to him a lot, but that was 16 years ago. So when I flew into Georgia, day one on the set, and I saw Pat, it was very surreal, to be doing a movie with him. And yeah, he's just a total pro. He's a really charming, really fun actor to watch. And I just find that working with good actors, it just elevates your game.
Yeah.
And they bring a degree of presence to the scene that gets you grounded.
Yeah.
And it's like it's like you're in a boxing ring.
Yeah.
You're in a boxing ring. It's like if the better the boxer is, they're gonna make you, look better. So yeah, it was really fun to watch both of them work. And Bruce, he's just he's got that just cool as ice kind of charm to him, that's always been very magical.
Now, your character in this film seems to be a steadying presence, and it kind of, any scene you were in was always looking to kind of diffuse a situation that obviously was escalating out of control. It's a really cool action film in general. Talk to us about that, and just kind of, again, you're in this situation where, again, it's escalating, things are kind of going out of control, but your character has to kind of keep everything and keep everyone kind of together.
Yeah, so my character's name is Smith, and he's the director of operations of
Hmm.
this power plant. And so basically, he's in charge. He runs the power plant that Bruce and his gang take the whole place hostage. So for me, it was just the way I approach a lot of things is I just take it scene by scene. You know, I have
Yeah.
an idea of the arc of the story. I have an idea of the arc of my character. You know, I know the beginning, the middle, and the end,
Hmm.
and then I just take it one scene at a time. Um, so I just tried to put myself in those circumstances, responsible for all these people,
Hmm.
being betrayed by the one guy who worked for me prior to him switching sides to Bruce. And you know, I just tried to be a real guy that was in this situation and was trying to prevent further damage from happening and prevent further lives from being lost. So it was very, you know, the way I work, it's very, very instinctual, very intuitive. You know, I do
Hmm.
my homework and then I try to feel my feet into the earth, and then I breathe and I try to stay present. And I'm just like, let's see what happens. Let's see what comes out of me.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I was definitely in there trying to talk Bruce out of doing more damage, and he had his mind pretty set, as you know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was cool. I mean, to me, the film took me back to you know, it's funny, we have a lot of action movies now, but we don't have like those 80s style films that I feel like those action films. And that's what kind of conjured up to me when I was watching this, was a lot of nostalgia to me of those 80s action movie genres. Is that the way you felt as well after seeing the finished product?
Yeah, I think that's a good observation you made. Yeah, definitely.
What was your
Yeah.
favorite 80s action movie? Or maybe it doesn't have to be
Well,
80s. It could be anything. But to me, it felt 80s to me. So that's where I ask.
I mean, I don't know. I'd have to look up to get some ideas from. I mean, of course, you know, Die Hard 1 and 2 are.
Hmm.
I think those came out in the 80s.
Oh yeah,
Are
I actually like
definitely.
With a Vengeance is my favorite Die Hard, the one where they're traipsing around New York City.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean,
I get that look too. I put Die Hard second to Die Hard with a Vengeance. Die Hard with a Vengeance had the mugs and the gallon jars, and they had to fill the gallon jar, and they got to get 5 gallons at it. It's a movie that makes you really think.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head what else I would mention. I mean, we could throw out a few ideas of action movies, but
Now you're
yeah,
starring in the movie with him, but were you a Schwarzenegger guy or a Bruce Willis guy? That's a question right there.
I love Arnie, but I'm definitely a Bruce Willis guy.
All right. That's the correct answer. Yes.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
correct.
yeah, I'm definitely a Bruce
Until
Willis
you
guy.
star in a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Nice
and
long
then the
guy,
correct
you know.
answer changes.
Huh?
Until you star in a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then the answer changes.
Yes, yes, of course.
So I was reading up on your background. You're born in Los Angeles. What I found interesting, and we've had composers on before, is that you were the son of a Grammy-winning composer and an Academy Award-nominated songwriter, Barry DeVorzon and Jalinda DeVorzon. And it's interesting because I find that, like, you grew up in the movie business in that way, but how much does music kind of like play a role based on what your parents did, and in shaping your career, and you know, why go acting and maybe not follow in the footsteps, so to speak?
That's a great question. Yeah, my dad is. I'm really, really proud of some of the work that my dad has done. I mean, I thought he showed great range as a songwriter and a music composer. And music is definitely in my DNA.
Mm-hmm.
It's in my blood. And growing up, there was music, you know, was always being created in our house. Like,
Yeah.
Dad was always in the studio, his home studio, doing a score, for a TV show or a movie, and he would write stuff. He would bring us in, and we would all listen to it as a family. So I grew up with music. I love music. I've always been on the cutting edge of like new music, whether it was hip hop back in the early 90s or house music, and so it's a great question, because honestly, now at this age, I've thought to myself, and I've said, I kind of wish I spent more time doing music, because it's so in my DNA. It's so second nature for me. It's so, instinctually, but like a lot of youngsters that are rebels, I had to do music when I was a kid. And I did not like the idea of being told what to do. So I grew up playing piano. I had Beethoven, a statue on on the piano. I would play Moonlight Sonata. I was good, and I played guitar, but I didn't like that I had to do it. And I was a bit of a rebel, a bit of a wild kid. So it wasn't like as soon as I turned 18, it was like as soon as I had enough where I just said, I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I just said, I don't want to do music anymore. And I ran off to go skateboarding and go surfing. So, you learn as you go. Yeah.
That's amazing too, because music is generally like what you would be a rogue for. You would go toward music, and then you'd have the parents being like, no, become an accountant, do something safe, get a safe job.
Exactly. Yeah, no, running to anything in the entertainment business, the parents, no, yeah. I mean, my dad has always said, he's always been extremely supportive of all of us. Me and my three brothers are, all do stuff artistically, but he, it would not be his first choice.
Amazing. Now, being exposed to the movie business, is that what inspired you to become an actor?
It's not, but growing up, Kirk Douglas was at the house, Michael Douglas, Sylvester Stallone, so many actors and people in the film business were coming and going. And I was just a young kid. I didn't know. I mean, I'm 8 years old and Rocky walks in the house. All I know is he's not Sylvester Stallone. He's Rocky. And I'm saying, this can't be that this man is standing here, So that was all, going on. But, you're a young kid, young kids were just, I don't know the difference, I mean, I'm just kind of doing my own thing. And I think what made me want to become an actor wasn't growing up in the entertainment business. It wasn't being around people that were, in the entertainment business. It was watching movies as a young kid. And those movies in particular were the old Pink Panther movie starring Peter Sellers.
Wow.
Yeah. So those movies, I was obsessed with them. I would learn the scenes. I would, recreate them and stuff like that. And what I saw Peter Sellers do on screen, that's when the dream was born. I thought, God, I would love to do that one day.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Very cool.
Those are no small scenes, though. that's some shoes to want to step into. That's pretty awesome.
So,
absolutely,
going through some of your, some of your filmographies. The one series that popped out at me too was you were on an episode of Charmed. Charmed is obviously right in our wheelhouse. We do a lot of comic book, pop culture, TV stuff. So Charmed is talk to us about that experience of being on that show, and your role in it, and just what your take was from that show.
I played a vampire in Charmed, go figure. And, actually, I had much sharper fangs back then. But I admit it's good casting for me to play a vampire. But no, that was just another great opportunity. Yeah, I worked really hard on that role, and it was a small role, but I wanted to do something really creative with it. And I remember going through the audition process, and I worked really hard on it, and it was great. It was cool. very professional, everybody on set and the other actors that I worked with. And, yeah, I was very happy with that role.
So not talking about Deadlock because it's your latest feature. Pick the one role that stands out to you as your personal favorite, or the one that you think you personally really knocked out of the park.
I had 3 movies come out during the pandemic, but two of them, one is Her Deadly Groom, and the other one was Fast and Fierce Death Race. Fast and Fierce Death Race I did with DMX. I was the lead of that one. And then Her Deadly Groom was a thriller where I played the male lead, who was a kind of a romantic, charming leading man who's really a psychopath. I was very happy with the work I did in both of those roles. They were very different.
Yeah.
But I think, I suppose if I was to choose one, because it was getting more into the intricate details of the character, would be Her Deadly Groom.
Okay.
Because I had to be, I had to be this romantic, nice leading man. And then I also had to be this venomous, violent psychopath who's killing people. And that can be, a tricky thing to approach a character like that, without overacting or being too crazy. So I really worked on that role a lot to create nice, subtle moments and not overplay those scenes where he was really evil. So, yeah, I'm pretty proud of the work I did on that, and I got a lot of great feedback. And Fast and Fierce Death Race too is a very different character. He's very stoic. He's a hero, and that felt pretty comfortable playing that role. Not that I think of myself that way. I'm just saying.
Well, you're out there racing cars. We know it. You're doing death races all the time, obviously.
Yeah, my life is a death race. I mean, you have no idea. As soon as I get off this thing, I'm going to be in a death race outside my place. Yeah.
Hassan drives a moped. Go figure. I don't know. Because it's right out there.
I mean, I know. I heard he's on his way over in his moped. We're going to have a death race. We're going to have a death race, man.
It won't be much of a race for me. I'll watch how fast you move, and I'll be like, "That's impressive." That's the extent of it. Do you have a preference of movies? Like it seems like you've run the gamut from drama to action movies. Do you prefer action movies to drama, or like as in Charmed, like a fantasy? What would you call that? Like the fantasy action. And then Deadlock is definitely like a pretty standard, like beat up the bad guy, shoot 'em up action movie. What's your favorite wheelhouse for these the various films that you do? Do you have a favorite genre?
I don't. I mean, I suppose it's the same whether as a viewer, I like to watch everything, and I really admire everything from comedy to sci-fi to fantasy to drama to a love story. I just love great films. And as an actor, I'm really open to doing whatever comes my way. I would like to do some comedy at some point, because I haven't had as much of an opportunity to do that much comedy. And I'm a big fan of comedy, but
want to join the show? You could just be the third co-host. We'll just keep you on it. I mean,
yeah.
It sounds a riot. It works out good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, listen, I think talking about action movies, they're fun because they're high energy. The stakes are high. There's stuff happening. There's car chases.
They're very goal oriented. Also, like exactly what you're saying. Either you're trying to stay alive or you're trying to accomplish something. Against some kind of clock.
Yeah.
So it's pretty, everybody knows the stakes immediately. Everybody's locked in on those. Those are probably, action's probably easier to establish than say drama, but I can't imagine filming action is any less exhilarating or less exhilarating than doing drama. So that was just the basis of my question. If you had a preference, do you like running and tumbling and punching people in the face, or do you like monologuing, that kind of situation?
I would probably lean more towards monologuing. Yeah, I mean, I like both, but I love to get deep.
Yeah.
Into some work. So action films are going to be a little more, they're not going to necessarily, I mean, they can, but I like to go deep. So if the material allows me to kind of go deep into an emotional world, that's something that I really like to do.
What's your dream cast list to co-star with? Actor, actress, your wish list of, I want to be in a movie with that person.
Oh, too many names to list, but thinking of female actresses that I really love, Jessica Chastain. I think she's one of the finest actors to ever do it. I would love to do a movie with her. I think her work is about as raw and real as I've ever seen in my life. I'd love to do a romantic comedy with Julia Roberts.
Oh, there we go.
Always had a crush on Julia. Male actors that I love. I mean, there's so many great ones. I think Leo is just doing some incredible work these days. He always has. I mean, but he's really blossomed, and his work is so raw and so real. I think Michael Shannon is one of the finest actors I've ever seen do that craft of acting. I watch him and I go, I don't know how he does what he does. He's on some other, level. Like it's so incredible to watch him work. So there's a few people.
Absolutely. No, very good choices as well.
That's a good list.
Yeah, I think that would be a solid wish list for sure. We've talked about this before on the show, where Hassan and I, we get excited about different things in terms of movies and TV coming out. I love the speculation game. I love watching a show and going, gee, I wonder how it's going to end. I wonder if it's going to end this way. I wonder if it's going to end this way. Even watching a movie trailer and going, I wonder if the plot's going to be this. Hassan wants none of that. He wants no part of that. Now, are you a speculation junkie like me, or do you err more on the, covering the eyes and the ears with the face completely until you're able to experience it?
Well, first of all, speaking of covering the face, I love face masks that cover your eyes. I walk around my neighborhood like that. It's strange, but I say, no, it's okay. It's okay. But no, in all honesty, I err on the side of, I want to know as little as possible about something before I go in to see it. Now, if I'm in the theater and they play previews, I'm not going to close my eyes. I watch the previews because I'm interested in seeing them. I'm interested in seeing the trailer, how they cut it, like how does it look. So if it's presented in front of me, I don't shy away from it. But generally, I don't look up trailers online. And I like to see a movie with as little put into my mind as possible, so I can just have this kind of open canvas to watch this movie or TV show and kind of not know what's going to happen.
Perfect answer.
Yeah.
And clearly the wrong one. So I mean, look, you can't have a perfect guest. Sometimes they're gonna give the wrong answer. I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes it happens. Michael, no. In all seriousness, this has been a blast to have you on. We both got to screen the film, so we're really excited for you and really excited for the film. Tell folks, where they can see it and where they can find you.
Yeah, cool. Great. I really enjoyed this as well, guys. So thanks for having me. And so the movie is Deadlock. It comes out in theaters and everywhere VOD on December 3rd. The movie's called Deadlock. And I can be found on Instagram and Twitter at Michael D.